Watch this review here, look at Batman from Mattel's Target exclusive Public Enemies Wave. I didn't actually buy him like this, I just took really bad care of the package. It ended up falling once or twice. Part of it's because I don't really like this figure too much. The other part's the fact that he has like dust or something caked onto a part of his cape, which was in package. I didn't notice it until I got him back home, and then I was like debating whether or not to return him, and then I just never got around to it. But yeah, same packaging as everybody else's wave. Although he looks pretty decent on the back of the box, but when I was looking at him from the front, his chin makes him look kind of weirder. I don't know, hopefully he looks more like that than this. But time to get this packaging open to get a better look at the figure. Batman comes with a stand and the lower torso of Brimstone, which if you're a student of anatomy, you'll know connects to the upper torso with a fair amount of pushing. There we go. And it's in place. So now we have a kind of almost completed Brimstone. Previously I had mentioned that Batman was my least favorite figure this wave, and that more or less holds up, although I admit it's a kind of tough call between him and Silver Banshee. First and foremost, I really just don't like this head sculpt. Holy crap! When did they let Jay Leno play Batman? And here's that little mold or whatever crap that I was talking about. I mean, some people might think it's dust, but honestly, this looks like mold. Look at that. Actually, you can't really see it too much. But if you could, it's whitish. It's just sort of out there. It looks weird. It looks exactly like mold, not dust. So yeah, really not digging this big chin, but other than that, it's a pretty decent looking figure. There is a variant available for this. It's a blue and gray version where you have the blue where you'd see the black except for the bat symbol, which, kind of bugged me because, I like the symmetry of having everything be the same color for that. Plus the other thing is, this is the color that he wore in the movie, so... Also, the blue is like really bright and kind of palish. So I mean, it's kind of like a scale or two lighter than the Superman here. It actually reminds me a lot of this one Batman cup holder I had as a kid. I think he was probably like a McDonald's toy, or maybe it's like a Six Flags toy or something, but I really like that cup holder. I wish I could figure out what the hell I did with it, but I imagine it probably got thrown out just like my Donatello cereal bowl. It was a damn good cereal bowl. Also, for all the people who complain about the frequency at which Batman shows up in this stuff, and always going, I don't want to buy another sculpt, they've bought this mold like a dozen times. This time you get something different. Not only do we have a new head sculpt instead of just a repaint, and of course the cowl's ears don't look as pointy. One other big difference, I wonder if you can see it. That's right! He has closed hands. He has fists instead of open hands for accessories because he does not come with accessories. Other than the stand and the CNC piece, but I don't consider those really accessories because they aren't really meant to be used with the character. Well, in some senses of the word. I mean, obviously you use a stand with the character, but not to be posed with. But actually kind of use a stand to pose it with. Although you're posing the figure with a stand, you aren't posing the stand with a figure. So maybe that's the differentiation I'm going for. At any rate, I won't bore you with tons of detail about the figure because we all know the basic articulation. So I'll just show you how the articulation goes through, mention the fact that this bat symbol is quite a bit different from other bat symbols, and it's a different shade of yellow for the belt, and then while I'm doing the articulation, I will talk about the fact that Batman Arkham Asylum is getting a Game of the Year edition with 3D. Actually, I should probably wipe that crap off him, but, yeah, so, about, I think it was a day or two after I had just gone out and bought Arkham Asylum, I learned that they were getting a Game of the Year edition with 3D scenes, which I guess are probably for the Scarecrow. And it even comes with a pair of 3D glasses, so a little annoying there, a little annoying. But of course that's not the kicker. The kicker is the fact that a few short days after that Best Buy deal where you can get it for $40, I learned that Amazon had as a daily deal Batman Arkham Asylum for $30. So, understandably, it's a source of irritation. Actually, that joint feels too rubbery and elastic. It just sort of snaps back in place. Weird. I haven't played around with the ab joints too much in these guys. Also, I've noticed all the figures this wave don't seem to stand very well, as the knee joints or whatever just seem to get loose over time. Plus, he has that same crotch issue as everything else this wave, where you have this big degree of separation there. But yeah, so really not digging that. I mean, Arkham Asylum itself is a pretty kick-ass game, though. So I mean, it wasn't like a total loss, but I really would have loved to see all the Scarecrow stuff, which I imagine is Scarecrow stuff in 3D. Although Scarecrow wasn't nearly as scary as Killer Croc, so that was a little disappointing, not tremendously so, because, you know, Killer Croc should be frickin' scary as opposed to the joke that he's been in, you know, some renditions of the comics, and then on the cartoon, of course. I mean, the cartoon was hilariously bad for Croc. I guess I could always just rent the Game of the Year edition or watch the cutscenes when they're uploaded to YouTube. I mean, I guess Arkham Asylum on some levels should just be a rent rather than a actual buy, because it's pretty short. Then you do have some replay with the challenge maps, but they do kind of get old. The big thing about the PS3 version, of course, the fact you get to play as Joker, but it's only on the special maps, and the maps don't really count for anything. I don't even think they count for the trophy, because you don't get any special medals or anything for beating the challenges. And the Joker is a lot harder to play as, because all the stealth missions, all you have is like these X-ray glasses that make this cool noise while you're using them, but he can't use them, so he has to stand straight up while using them, meaning you aren't really in stealth, and he gets killed way too easily. Plus, he doesn't like have any reusable ranged weapons, and then of course he can't like catapult himself up like Batman's got his grapple gun. He's got no grapple gun. He has a normal gun, which is good for one shot, but not much else. Still, the combat's wicked as Joker, and I mean, it's kind of fun to play as him, but I just wish they had done more with him, like offered a replay mode where you can actually go through the game as Joker, which probably wouldn't have been too tough, although, I mean, they just reused the same Batman for the cutscenes or something, but I mean, that's what they've done on a lot of other games, so I mean, it probably wouldn't have been too big of a deal. And here we have the obligatory side-by-side comparison between the Public Enemies Batman and a normal Batman action figure. In this case, it is the Wave 10 Imperiex Wave, more movie-ish Batman look from the early Burton films. Now, as you can probably see, the belts are completely different. Now, he has the same belt as like all the other Batmans. This one has a different belt. When I was looking at him earlier, I was thinking that the belt did look different, but I wasn't going to say that just because I could be wrong, and then I'd toss in an annotation, but I'd still feel kind of silly at the end of the day, because, you know, it's something kind of basic that you should sort of know. But I would pull out my Detective Batman to do the comparison with, but I still haven't opened that guy. He's still just sitting here, still in package and everything, in part because I want to do a more detailed analysis of the special waves, but I don't know, mostly because I do like looking at him in package, because the packaging's a bit different. You have this really big Batman logo here. So yeah, he's kind of up on the wall at the moment. By the way, the variant for this guy doesn't have the shadow on the mask, it's just all blue. Plus, as mentioned, all these sculpts are kind of the same for Batman, except for this one. Now, here's where you'll notice what I'm talking about with the ears just being a lot further up on the normal figures. Also, you notice the whole face is a lot wider. I didn't notice that so much with the Superman one, but I mean, it's really visible right here, so it's definitely a more cartoony, comic-ish look than the realistic look for the Batman here. Also, as mentioned in other videos, you can see that the torso pieces look a bit different. I mean, it's not like massively different, but it's just a little bit off. Especially like how the ab/diaphragm joint goes in, where it looks more concealed than it does in these other ones for some reason. On the whole, Batman's really not that bad of a figure. The only thing that really bugs me all is just the fact that his chin looks so weird. Then Also the skin color is just such a deeper tone than the Superman here. So I'm not sure what's up with that. You also notice that the actual chins themselves are a lot different in the lower face. Some of the older comics, they used to just have Batman, Superman switch costumes at times, and people would believe it just because they looked so much alike, just because of the way the artists drew them, in part. Which I guess in some levels is a kind of a parody or satire. And it's kind of funny in a way, but earlier I mentioned the fact that he's different because he's got these closed fists, but this actually bugs me a little bit because Batman is a character known for his use of gadgets, and it is kind of weird that he isn't able to use any gadgets, because other than that, he's just some crazy lunatic in a bat costume running around. If I was going to give this figure a rating, I would probably give him a 6 or 6.5, but I don't give ratings, so no ratings.